As an independent contractor, I am in charge of looking out for all of my expenses, finding the best possible solutions for all of these to get them as cheap as possible so that I'm saving more of my income and not spending that on the month-to-month expenses. So when I look at my cell phone bill, I'm always looking for ways to reduce that and get it as low as possible. Now, a lot of times I see these expenses and I wish I could just get rid of them completely and just do without them. I have had some expenses that I could just, toss, throw aside. I realized they weren't imperative to business, and a cell phone just wasn't one of those. In fact, I can't think of many businesses where you don't need a cell phone in 2019. So recognizing that I can't just get rid of my cell phone and get rid of my mobile service, I've spent a lot of time kind of looking and finding what is the best possible option. So I started doing this research actually a few years ago. Now I've tried out Verizon, I've tried out AT&T, and I've also tried out T-Mobile. I have not touched Sprint. I just don't really go there. But I've tried out really the big three, and I'm gonna tell you which one of those I like the best, and then go into detail about a budget plan that's a little bit different, and it's a little bit different route to take. To give you guys a little bit of backstory on how I got started looking at cell phone plans here, originally I was on a Verizon plan. This is a few years back, back when I was still on a family plan with my family. And Verizon, in my opinion, is kind of like the best all-around service, but also the most expensive. And so as an independent contractor, I can't really afford to pay that much. But I was on this Verizon plan because with the family rates, I was actually getting a decent discount. So it really made sense for me to go this route with Verizon. And it was really great to have that savings. The plan was under my dad's account, so I would just cut him a check like every 6 months for the bill. And it was great. But about 2 years ago, my parents started cutting. They were looking at their expenses and they said, hey, the kids are still dependent on us. Even though we were still paying all of our bills, they were like, hey, we need to shake these kids, they're dependent, and this is one thing that they're coming back for us every month. So they're like, all right, kids, you're gone. You're off the family plan. We're getting rid of the family plan. And so I was out there in this mobile world, just trying to swim, just trying to tread water, looking at all my different options, trying to find the best possible route. And I jumped around a little bit from AT&T to my current plan at T-Mobile, where I'm paying actually a month-to-month plan, and it's not their unlimited plan. It's a little bit less than that. It's $50 a month, and I'm currently getting unlimited talk and text, and then a few gigabytes of data every month, which is great. It's all I really need. It's a good balance for me, but there are actually better plans out there. So recently I started evaluating all of my expenses, and the cell phone plan came up. $50 a month is good, but I think I can do better. And it's when I heard about this one trick that can save you a ton of money on your cell phone bill. And I'd heard about it before, but I just didn't want to go through the hassle. It sounded like it was such a pain. It wouldn't make sense for me to waste all of this time. It sounded kind of risky, like I was in some gray area and I didn't want to try it. But now that I'm really looking over my expenses and doing everything I can to reduce them, it is time to give it a try. And this trick is called unlocking your phone. I have an iPhone 7. And when you unlock your phone, you unlock access to plans that aren't necessarily available to you when you have a locked phone. So the four big providers, the four big networks, AT&T, Sprint, Verizon, and T-Mobile, they all have their own networks. They're all putting up their own cell phone towers and providing that coverage. And there's a ton of other smaller networks within that group, and they kind of operate on these bigger networks within their coverage. So they're basically bumming off their cell phone towers. But generally speaking, when you're using one of these big four plans, you're gonna be locked into that cell phone coverage. So you have to unlock your phone before you can get a cheaper plan. So that I started looking around, started looking at these cheaper plans, and found out that I am paying way too much for T-Mobile. And T-Mobile is already kind of like the cheapest, best option for me. The coverage is good. The price isn't terrible, but I could be paying a lot less for almost the same service. So this new plan that I found is based off of Mint Mobile, and what they do is they're one of these companies that piggybacks off of the larger carriers, and they're currently piggybacking off of the T-Mobile platform. So you get the same service as T-Mobile, but you get a much better price. So as a reseller of T-Mobile service, Mint does sometimes have less priority for network services, but a lot of people say that it's pretty much the same service and they can't even tell the difference. And they have a couple of different plans. They offer a few starter 3-month trials, one of them at $15 a month and the other at $20 a month. The $15 a month plan has unlimited talk and text, and it also has 4 gigabytes of 4G LTE data. And then for $5 more a month, you can bump up to 8 gigabytes of 4G LTE data. Now at $20 a month at that 8 gigabytes of 4G LTE data, I am actually getting more data every month than I was currently getting with my T-Mobile plan. It's the same network, the same coverage, but I'm getting that at roughly a third of the price. Now it is a 3-month intro pricing, and if you want to re-buy your plan after that, you can then subscribe for a year-long period and get that same price locked in, but you're paying for the full year. So you really have that 3 months to test it out, figure out if you want it, and then from there, you can kind of lock it in at that same rate. Now this makes sense for me getting more data because data is what's important to me. I spend a lot of time kind of moving around, driving around, and I want to be accessing my phone, be accessing emails, looking stuff up online from my car, from coffee shops, from wherever I'm at. I really need to do this. And currently with T-Mobile, I'm getting good coverage. I like my plan. It's a decent price, but I'm running out of data like a week before the month ends. And then they switch me over to this basically broadband service that just does not cut it. So this new plan I'm looking to do, I've got a couple of things that I need to kind of straighten out before I dive into it. And one of those is unlocking my phone because I'm currently locked and I need to unlock that. So I've looked up this service. It's called Dr. Unlock. It's drunlock.net. Now there's a ton of different ways to unlock your phone, but this seems to be one of the more reliable, more highly reviewed ways to go about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a try, unlock my phone, and then get access to that cheaper service and test it out, make sure it's really the same as my T-Mobile service was prior. So with Dr. Unlock, it is an IMEI unlock, which is one of the recommended ways to unlock your iPhone. There's multiple ways to go about it. You could kind of hire someone, get you to do it with the hardware unlock. There are software unlocks, which don't really work with the newer iPhones because Apple has cut onto that. And Android's a little bit different, so you got to look up your particular path if you want to unlock that type of phone. But as far as an iPhone goes, Dr. Unlock looks like the best route for me. So I pay about $28 to unlock this phone. And for me, that totally makes sense because even in my first month paying that $28 and then paying the $20, I'm still saving money compared to my T-Mobile plan. And that $28 is just a one-time fee. So I'm going to be coming up during the first month by just a few bucks, and then going forward, I'm going to be saving about $30 a month with this new plan. Let me know if you've unlocked your phone or if you use one of these cheaper wireless plans that isn't a traditional network but piggybacks off of them. Let me know what your experience has been, how the coverage has been, and if you're really saving that much money. I wanted to do a review of the big four, but honestly, it doesn't make sense to when you could be saving so much more money going with an alternative route like this. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome tips to save money, the gig economy, finances, side hustles, really gonna cover it all here.